Kansas State surprised everybody last year by going 10-4 and winning the Big 12 championship. The Wildcats now come in at number 18 in our way too early top 25, and they have a very, very good chance to repeat as conference champions, as the Wildcats may have one of the more favorable schedules in the entire Big 12 conference. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys, ready to preview the Kansas State Wildcats schedule for this upcoming college football season. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, guys. A lot of exclusive content and offers down there for you, because right here at the Gridiron Expert, football never ever dies. It never ends. So yes, college football might be over, the Super Bowl might be over, but we're going to have football content all the way up until the start of the regular season. Then that's where things get fun, right? Football never dies here at the channel. 24/7, 365 content all the time. Check it out and become a part of our GE Nation. So you take a look at Kansas State, guys. I mean, again, what a year for them. Back in the preseason, if you don't believe us, go check out our Kansas State prediction video. We said the Wildcats could be the dark horse in the Big 12. That if you were looking for a sneaky team, not named Oklahoma or Texas or Baylor, that could maybe go on to win the Big 12, it was Kansas State. And that's exactly what they did. The Wildcats went 10-4, won the Big 12, went to the Sugar Bowl where they fell to Alabama. They do lose their star running back in Deuce Vaughn, obviously a huge loss for that offense, but they do return an experienced quarterback in Will Howard, who stepped in for Adrian Martinez and helped lead the team to the Big 12 championship game. They're expected to return about 8 starters on offense, roughly 6 on defense, and we always know that Chris Kleiman's defenses are some of the best in the country. Never, ever doubt Chris Kleiman. From his days at North Dakota State to his days at Kansas State, he continues to defy the odds, just like he did last year, and he's looking to do the same again in 2023. You take a look at Kansas State's schedule. It's really, really favorable for a pretty experienced team. First thing you should know is that the Big 12 does bring in a lot of new members, right? We are going to see the addition of UCF, BYU, Cincinnati, and Houston. So a lot of newcomers into the Big 12. Well, the first thing I'm looking at here is the fact that Kansas State does not have to play BYU. They do not have to play Cincinnati. So how fortunate is that? They do have to play UCF and Houston, but no BYU, no Cincinnati, and no Oklahoma. How about that? Now, Kansas State's had success against Oklahoma, but they avoid them on the schedule this year in year 2 under Brent Venables. So you look at Kansas State's schedule, there's a very, very good chance that this Wildcats team could start 4-0. Southeast Missouri, Troy, who's no slouch, by the way. They were phenomenal last year in John Summerall's first year. But Southeast Missouri, Troy, at Missouri, UCF. 3 of the first 4 games are at home. I think they could easily win all of those. At Missouri, not going to be easy by any means. They were a bowl team last year. Kansas State did beat the Tigers 40-12 in Manhattan. And I will say I don't have a whole lot of faith in Eli Drinkwitz. So, depending on how Missouri's faring, especially only in week 3 with a lot of new pieces, Kansas State could take advantage of that. I would expect them to be favored in the game. Kansas State easily could start 4-0, as long as they don't slip up somewhere, kind of like they did against Tulane last year. So watch out for that. If they are 4-0, they're going to get a bye week and be very well rested going into what I believe is the key 3-game stretch for them. At Oklahoma State, at Texas Tech, TCU. Those 3 games are going to define Kansas State's season, especially if they are 3-1 or 4-0 coming in to October. These 3 games are going to be key. Back-to-back road games is never ideal, regardless of what point in the season you have to deal with it. At Oklahoma State, yes, Kansas State won 48-0 last year, but obviously this is a new Oklahoma State team. Yes, we know they lost Spencer Sanders. Yes, we know they're doing a lot of new pieces. Yes, we know they weren't all that great last year, but playing in Stillwater is never, never easy. It's not going to be easy. So even though they're well rested, the Oklahoma State game is a bit of a trap. Even if Kansas State wins, they're not going to do it by a 48-point margin like they did last year. That was a huge shot to win by that much. So that's a trap game there. At Texas Tech, certainly not going to be easy. Texas Tech was the 19th ranked team in our way to early top 25. So back-to-back Big 12 teams that we have talked about over these last few days. The Red Raiders, guys, in year 2 under Joey McGuire return a lot of talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball. They're going to be hyped in Lubbock. Kansas State beat the Red Raiders only by 9 last year, 37-28. So now on the road against an ever-improving offense and what should be a little bit better of a defense, that's a trap game, especially if Kansas State's a little hungover after the road game at Oklahoma State. So Texas Tech not going to be easy there. Very well could be a loss for the Wildcats, and then they come back home to take on TCU, the national runner-up. TCU beat Kansas State in the regular season. The Wildcats got their revenge over the Horned Frogs in the Big 12 championship, beat them 31-28 in overtime. The Horned Frogs, of course, still went on to the college football playoff despite the loss and fell to Georgia in the national championship. But TCU, we haven't talked about them yet. They're going to be in our top 25. They're coming up here in a few days. They're going to be a very good team. Yes, they lose a lot of starters on offense, namely Max Duggan at quarterback. Sonny Dykes has the pieces to fill in and contend once again contend for a Big 12 title despite all the losses offensively. So this TCU team not going to be easy. Kansas State lucky to host them in Manhattan, but depending on what the psyche of the team is following back-to-back road games, whether they're losses, they split them, whatever it is, TCU not going to be a pushover at all. So that 3-game stretch there right after the bye week is crucial for Chris Klieman and the Wildcats. If you're Kansas State, you really need to try to go 2-1, at least 2-1 in those 3 games, if not 3-0. Because the back half of the schedule, those final 5 games, really aren't all that bad. They host Houston, who loses a lot of star power as well. A Houston team that wildly disappointed last year and very well could again this year in their first year in the Big 12. So they get to host the Cougars. They do have to go on the road to Texas, which will be tough. They fell to the Longhorns at home by 7 last year, although we've seen a lot of close games between the Wildcats and the Longhorns. So hopefully we'll have another classic this time around. They get to host Baylor, who they crushed 31-3 last year, also a major disappointment last year. They go on the road to Kansas, who's no longer a slouch, certainly deserves to be respected, needs to be taken seriously, but Kansas State still won by 20. And then they close the year with a game against Iowa State. 2 great defenses going at it. Kansas State won 10-9 last year. Would expect a relatively low-scoring game again, but it is senior night, and they get to host the game in Manhattan. So, again, after that TCU game, 3 of their last 5 games are at home, and really the toughest road game is the run at Texas. You can't disrespect Kansas at all, but it is a in-state rivalry game. The Wildcat faithful will show up for that, and they still certainly do have Kansas's number right now. So, really, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, TCU, that 3-game stretch will define Kansas State's schedule. It's a very favorable schedule. They avoid Cincinnati. They avoid BYU. Some would consider them to be the top 2 newcomers into the Big 12. Kansas State doesn't have to play them. They avoid Oklahoma. They're going to improve in year 2 under Brent Venables. The home slate, extremely favorable. You just got to watch out for that 3-game stretch, as we mentioned, and throw in that Texas game as well on the road that could be tricky for the Wildcats. But this is a team that could very well repeat as Big 12 champions, or at least get back to the Big 12 championship game. They have the players in place for it. They have the schedule in place for it. Now all they got to do is speculate and hopefully see how the Wildcats fare in 2023. But I would expect another fantastic year from Chris Klieman in Manhattan. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. And of course, check out everything down in the description below. Again, we have exclusive content and offers down there for you to help you get through this off season, because here, guys, at the Gridiron Expert, football never dies. It never ends. It never stops. Non-stop content right here on the channel, talking about the games and the teams and the game that you love, college football. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button so you don't miss out on any of our future content, so you can become a part of our GE Nation. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.